Hello, good day, my viewers. This is Live Media. Mr. Chinedu Michael. Let us look at this case involving Nnamdi KANU of federal government of Nigeria. Remember that the second prosecution witness just testified in court, talking about DSS. Of course, he made it very clear that upon the arrest of Nnamdi KANU in Lagos, that no weapon of terrorism was found on him, including his associate, a lady that was arrested alongside himself, that they couldn't find any weapon of terrorism with him. Of course, this has got people talking. I understand that it's the court that ultimately have the final say, so that we don't prejudice. But how is the testimony of Nnamdi KANU not having terrorism with him come to you?
Nnamdi KANU was not a terrorist. Has never involved himself in anything terrorism. He has made it very clearly in the court there that he is agitating, and which is his right. That's what he said. That he's agitating for the freedom and justice for his people. I don't know how that turned to terrorism, according to the federal government. But if you look at that hooded DSS man, he said he was mandated to arrest Nnamdi KANU at Golden Olive in Festac. Then at arriving at room 303, if I'm correct, hope I am, he picked Nnamdi KANU, not knowing what was the purpose of what it is meant for. But later on, he discovered that it was an Abuja thing, purely an Abuja setting, purely a government setting, to make sure that Nnamdi KANU is picked. And since that time, Nnamdi KANU have not undergone any form of trial under Binta, nyako or thereafter, And when these things were happening, Nnamdi KANU kept focused on trying to make sure that he does not move away from the real thing he intend to achieve.
Okay, no, sorry. Let's not look at what Nnamdi KANU stands for. We understand that Nnamdi KANU, even at the level of this trial, he has not been broken. He made it very clear that self-determination is a right, it's my right. I cannot be cowed, I cannot be intimidated, and I must do it. Remember that it's not just that. We have seen the lives of Professor Olecheka repeatedly maintained that Biafra is an ideology. And of course, I think it's turned out to be true.
Biafra is not only an ideology, Biafra has become a religion. People have come to that consciousness, and a lot of people has embraced it. Nnamdi KANU is in control of the South and the Southeast currently now. And you can see most of the things he said about Nigeria. I feel that Nigeria would have taken that opportunity to look into what the man was talking about and probably see how they can avoid such imminent disaster that was being pronounced by Nnamdi KANU. Warning Nigeria of the consequences of opening and allowing a Fulani to carry out a certain agenda believed to be jihadist. So on that note, I think that was what the main crux of the whole thing. And Nnamdi KANU, if you look at him, it's a symbol of struggle. It's a symbol of identity. Nnamdi KANU represents over talking about over 80 million people in Biafra land and Igbos all over the world. So if you see what transpired that has been going on recently in the court and how he has gotten to the level where he is. Remember that Nnamdi KANU consistently always say that there's no court that have jurisdiction to try him because he never committed any offense. And if there's any act of criminality, it should be on the issue of kidnapping from Kenya or illegal rendition from Kenya to Nigeria. And that was a terrorism act. And based on that criminality, Nigerian court have no jurisdiction to try him. So I think that was what was building up until we have this new judge now that ordered that Nnamdi KANU must be retried, even though the appeal court have granted him bail in the past, knowing fully well that there was nothing found against him. But we saw what the witness was saying yesterday under cross-examination of Nnamdi KANU's lawyers, and from what we have gathered, there was nothing incriminating found in Nnamdi KANU.
Okay, remember that Nnamdi KANU himself made it very clear the other time that he is ready to remain in detention until there is an impartial judge to adjudicate this case he has with federal government of Nigeria. His lawyer came out after court proceeding to say that yes, we have always maintained that Nnamdi KANU did not commit crime, that we are going to establish it. And of course, it looks as if we have seen an impartial judge.
Well, I'm not going to say it's an impartial judge. I think what I always say it before now, that what is holding Nnamdi KANU is not the law. What is holding Nnamdi KANU is the interest. And it has come to an extent that it has become an embarrassing moment for Nigerian government, both nationally and internationally, given the kind of pressure that is coming from different quarters over his illegal continuous detention. You know, and let me quote from a judge from Cameroon who said that there's no court that can defeat Nnamdi KANU currently now. And unfortunately for Nigerian government, they have succeeded in putting Nnamdi KANU there, then putting Biafra at the global map. And that is what it looks like now. So thank God that everything is unveiling. The whole world is seeing it clearly that Nnamdi KANU is not involved in anything that has to do with terrorism. And that was the evidence of what transpired during the cross-examination. To the astonishment of James Omotosho himself, I think to an extent he was wondering, what is actually going on until now, and why would Nnamdi KANU, like I said, he said he's not going to stand trial for this matter for long anymore, and by next week I will hope to see another dimension to Nnamdi KANU's case.
We understand that the process of prosecution takes some time, though the judge has given accelerated hearing, because after the prosecution have closed their case, the defense will ask to open their case. It is either they go for no case submission, and if the court decide that you must open your defense, definitely they will open their defense, call their witnesses. Thereafter, the court will ask the two parties to address the court before the judgment. But however, it was a joyous moment in the southeast, in all Biafra land yesterday, saying that the testimony from the very agency that is prosecuting the man Nnamdi KANU on the basis of terrorism have come out to say we could not find any terrorism weapon in him.
Well, we cannot trust the federal government at this point, given our own experience with them and how they operate. Because what we are expecting that James Omotosho to, as soon as possible, strike that case completely out for lack of evidence. I think that's the right thing to do. But another factor is that the government themselves might decide to appeal, or to engage in illegal battle, continuous illegal battle. That's another factor, that need to be looked into and see how, in that matter, how it's going to work at the end of the day. But as it stands now, I feel that since there's no evidence found against Nnamdi KANU, that Nnamdi KANU is illegally detained, in DSS custody close to 5 years now. It's unfortunate for Nigerian government, but not for Nnamdi KANU. I know God on his side, he will get justice at the end of the day.
No, lastly, let us just look at briefly where you can see some Israeli citizens, of course, acknowledging that Igbo is a lost tribe of Israel. Of course, these have been added to their website.
Of course, you can see that has been something that is well known to everybody. It was not the Israeli government that established that. It was the Portuguese that established that Igbos are the Jews, not the British, not the current Israeli government.
The Israeli have acknowledged it, and
yes, they need to acknowledge it very well, because I remember when the former governor of Enugu State, Chimaroke Nnamdi, invited Israeli ambassadors all over the world. I think that conference was held in Enugu as at that time. and it was discovered that the Igbo tribe are still very prominent in Israel as of today, and that Igbo, it come from the tribe of Ni. And if you look at that Ni currently in Israel today, where the owner of this Chivita, Chivita company, is an Israeli company, where the man came from, that CHI, Chi, they share the same language with the Igbo people. And there are historical facts in Eri kingdom currently now that linked Israel with that linked the Igbos with the Jews. So I'm not talking about the tradition, the culture of the Igbo. The 4 days, this thing, the way Igbos do their things, and the similarities and how Igbos does their things that is similar to that of Jewish tradition. So it's a very clear fact. It's a known fact. That we are, and that is what we are. And not only that, the Massa tribe in Kenya too are also there. One of them married one of the pastors in Nigeria here, Asle Madubuko, married from a Jewish tribe I think in Massa. Massa is in Kenya, you understand? So it's not only, but majorly, this is where they believe they have a larger chunk of the black Hebrews, as it was at that time.
I think that we have explained the reason we easily see Israelis or other Israeli citizens acknowledging that, yes, Igbos are our brothers.
No, you see, when some Israeli tourists came to Nigeria a few years ago, you can see what happened. The DSS and the federal government got them arrested and sent them back out of Nigeria, because they don't want that thing to come to the open to that extent. But it's an open thing. Everybody knows about that, but I can tell you that what is happening is not just a fiction, it's reality. We have, like Nnamdi KANU will always tell you anytime, any day, when he was asked by the then judge, Nyako, he said, who are you? He said, I'm a Jew. If you have a Jew, produce a Jewish identity, and he was able to do that within a space of time, proving his genealogical attachment to the present day Israel. So, or Jewish origin, let me put it that way. So, that is what it is, and it's a known fact, and I will continue to look in that direction, that the ancient black Hebrews are blacks, and that's what it is.
Finally, I understand that sometime in 2016, some Israeli physicians came to Nigeria, specifically in Nnewi, to conduct DNA tests. Of course, not just that, we have seen so many archaeological finds that prove the point that, yes, Igbos are Jews. But politically speaking, are you satisfied with the role Israel played so far, trying to help Biafra achieve this Biafra sovereignty?
I've only listened to once when Benjamin Netanyahu was talking about genocidal activities that was done during the Holocaust period. I think to an extent he mentioned Biafra in that video that I watched, and Biafran quest for sovereignty has spread all over the world. So if you are talking about DNA tests, that's what they call regeneration. It must have taken place. But what we are looking at is archaeological and traditional evidence is already there to prove that. There are so many mysteries. There are so many things you will want to know when you visit the kingdom. If you want to know, these are something I'm talking about before the coming of Christ, Jesus Christ on earth. The Inri kingdom has been established. And if you go to Inri today, you will still see, as at 15th century, you still see the symbol of David, the
style of the star.
Yeah, the star of David is still there. Because I went to Inri myself during the burial of former Super Eagles player, Emmanuel Emenike, who grew up in Nri, Onitsha, Anambra State, but he's from Olo in Imo State. So I was there. So, but I witnessed a lot of things. I witnessed really, even though there was a lot of things that was said, like the skull of Jeremiah, like the skull of Ezra, that have been kept as a I don't know how to put it as an access ancestral evidence of where they come from. You understand? It's still there. You know, they held that skull as an evidence of where they came from, as an evidence of their migration, as an evidence that they are linked to the ancient Hebrews in Israel. So what that means at this point is that, you know, if you look at it deeply, you will discover that if these people can maintain this sign, Star of David, since that time till now, and still kept it, is that mean there must be something that's linked them with the connection with Israel as a people, or as one of the lost tribes of Israel. If you still go to the kingdom today, you still see it. It's still there. And that's why you always see them. You can Google it, go and Google it. Anytime you see them, you still see that Star of David. Before you go to some of the traditional leaders within that space of the kingdom, where we actually establish his first kingdom, you will see those signs all over, scattered all over within that space till today. And that's a sign, that's a historical sign that Igbos have, historical link with Israel.
I think I will allow you to go at this point. I must say very thank you. This is a good place to let you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.